bro, how you doing? Today we're gonna talk about how to get started crappie fishing. We're gonna set you up with the best baits in our opinion, with the best heads to get started. Roll the intro. So the other day on TikTok, we went live and we had about 1,000 people in and out of that live in about an hour's time. And we got to talking with a bunch of you guys and we came up with a kit. This is kind of a customer built based on all of our preferences and all voted on. So you guys built this thing, the people have spoken, and we're gonna get into the kit. There she is. Now this kit starts off with a waterproof small cast Cray box. This is a really awesome handles on the side. You click it, you flip it, 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 and it opens up this awesome waterproof sealed box.
It's even blue. It matches the logo.
We've given you two different presentation options, which are the two primary options when fishing for crappie: jigging and action baits. And what I mean by that is some baits have that typical single appendage or an appendage sitting off the back that if you casted it out and you reeled it in, it was just kind of sit there. You have to add a little vertical action for the tail of that bait to kind of flutter and get the action and desired action that you're looking for. The second type is the moving style baits. That's where you're casting it out, you're moving it in, and all you're doing is reeling it back in, and it's spinning, it's flippering, it's paddling, it's doing the job for you. So we've given you a couple different options of both for both stain water and clear water, and hooked you up with some heads that are pretty universal in both hues of water. Not only that, but we've hooked you up with 6 different soft plastic styles in 6 different colors. So you have some of the hottest selling and hottest chosen colors.
Remember, you guys built this.
All available in one fancy little kit. Not only that, but we have different size jig heads as well as some moving jig heads. You can kind of combine those two worlds, the jigging baits, the action baits, with something like an underspin. A big eye jig head basically with an underspin willow leaf blade on it, so that when you're reeling it in, it's spinning really fast and adds that action that you might need on a jigging bait. So you can thread a jigging bait much like, say, a fluke that has no spinning appendage off the back. It's a jigging bait, but you could put something like this on one of those underspins and now you've added that action. So let's get to our selection. First up, the fluke. Now we gave you rubber duck. This is by far one of the most common colors in this certain style. What's really cool about this style is it starts as a standard 2-inch bait. This is a jigging bait. However, on many of our videos, we've referenced this bait because it's a tear-off bait. It has separate sections on the bait that you can literally twist off with like an Indian burn action and reduce the size of the bait to try to entice more of a reaction strike rather than a hunger strike. If you want to learn more about some of that terminology, I'm going to link some videos down below as well and at the end of this video. Watch along. Hey, if you guys made it this far in the video, do me a favor and comment below crappie kit. Next up is going to be the paddle tail. Now the paddle tail is a 2-inch bait as well. We gave you this one in cotton candy. That's fluorescent pink on top and a white pearl underbelly. Now this is a moving bait, so when you're casting this baby out and you reel it in, that paddle is going to go ham. It's going to swim and flutter just like a real live bait. 3. We gave you the sauce. This particular bait won me a bass tournament last year for 63 bass in one day. A YouTube tournament put on by Sunfish King.
Shout out to Kieran.
Took first place on the gold bling grub. Not only do the crappie love it, but the smallmouth do as well. Now a grub is a moving bait as well. So when you're reeling this back in, this is going to spin. That tail is going to catch a lot of action of the water. It's going to spin for you and you can reel it right in.
Action baits.
Also, if you look close, there's ribbing around the tail there. That ribbing there is really awesome in comparison to some of the more common twister tail style baits like this, because that ribbing is more apt to catch the water, giving it the ability to spin rapidly. What I mean is you can cast that out and you don't have to reel as fast to get this tail to spin. All 3 of these baits are great in clear water presentations. I'd say visibility of say 2 to 3 feet would be ideal.
Rick, does that mean that these won't work in dark water?
No, that's not the case at all. I'm just saying that in most cases, these are gonna be your better selections for a clear water presentation. Also on sunny days, you're gonna wanna use something that has a little more reflection to it in the clear water. So when the sun's shining down into that clear water, it's gonna hit something like this gold bling grub and reflect that light like crazy. It's gonna drive them nuts.
Bait number 4.
I think there it is. I did 5.
I'm at 4.
Another jigging bait. This one is called the Cicada. Now the Cicada features a tubular style body. This is in the color Sunrise, an excellent dark water or stained water color.
Pro tip.
Anything orange, excellent in my opinion, in the darker water. The Cicada, however, features almost like a beaver style tail. Do you see that? There's 2 tie bars, one in the middle, one on the bottom. You can fish it all together like this. In the water, these appendages will open up. These 2 arms on both sides will do so as well. If you wish to break the tie bars, it's going to offer the kind of wings of the Cicada to open up and flutter in the water as well. Awesome big fish bait. Awesome crappie hunger strike bait.
Number 5.
Next up is the Beaver in Bio Black. Now this is a very subtle style bait, very thin. Do you see how thin that bait is? This is going to be used on a day where they're just not as hungry. Maybe they're being a little finicky for you. Try more of a finesse presentation with something like the Beaver. Remember, darker colors, traditionally darker water. So in this case, Bio Black, obviously having the black with a little red flake in it is going to be excellent in more of the stained water presentations. Another little trick too on the Beaver is most people are more apt, because it is a jigging style bait, to rig it perpendicular with your hook. So your hook would be popping up and the beaver tail would kind of flap like this. Now this was not designed to do this, but a big shout out to Carl Bachtel. He kind of introduced me to the idea of fishing my own style vertical. So instead of fluttering it like this, rig it up to where it's vertical and more parallel with the hook, and it will swim in rather than flutter. Because of the finesse-ness of this bait and the thinness of the tail, it will actually flutter when you reel it in. Really cool bait.
Numero 6.
This is the Cricket, a classic style, and this is in the color Royal Toad. That is Purple Spark on the top and King Kermit on the bottom. Purple Spark has a purple with a purple flake. King Kermit is chartreuse with a little black flake in it. Really great dark water presentation as well. Stained, dark, muddy.
You get it.
A jigging bait for sure. When the crappies are real tight to cover, this is an excellent crappie dipping bait when you're real close and you'll just dip them in. Or if you're casting out on the boat or shore, fishing this under a float and just kind of popping it every so often to get the fluttering tails. This has like 2 arms and 2 tails like a little cricket. Now when we were building this kit out, we tried to pick some hardware for you guys that was going to work in all 6 of those applications pretty universally. And I feel like we've done a reasonably decent job at doing that. As I mentioned earlier, we have the pink underspin, a big eye head, which means that it has that little glass style eye on it. See it there? As you're casting out and reeling back in, that blade is going ham. And as I said earlier, you can use it on pretty much any of the baits. It's going to add extra action on those baits. Now I would use an underspin like that when the fish are feeding. So on days where you're casting it out and reeling it in and they're chasing baits, maybe on days where you're seeing a lot of topwater action, so they're chasing minnows and you can see that action and the minnows are kind of fluttering out of the water trying to get away, that is something that I would try in those occasions. The next 2 pieces of hardware that we give you here are 2 round jig heads. One in a 32nd ounce head.
Zoom, baby, zoom. Focus, focus, focus. There it is.
One in a 32nd ounce, that's the chartreuse with a red eye, and one in a 16th ounce, that is the orange with a white eye. So 2 different colors that work for most of the colors that we provided. If I'm casting and reeling in here in Northeast Ohio, most of the time I'm casting a 16th ounce, by far the most hottest selling size when it comes to jig heads.
For crappies, that is.
And if I'm going more of a finesse style approach and want to try a smaller bait, the 32nd ounce would be great if you were like reducing the size of the fluke.
Almost dropped it.
As you were reducing the size of the fluke, as we mentioned earlier, if you took the top portion of this body off, the 32nd ounce chartreuse would be a great option for that. I'll tell you what, this is kind of an all-in-one kit that you can get, and it's a good way to get your feet wet when you're trying to chase the crappies for the first time or just wanting to learn new things. In most cases, this kit, you can follow along any of our YouTube videos and pretty much follow along with all the applications and all the techniques that we're teaching you with something like this. Now, if you like to collect and try new things, keep in mind we have a plethora of options to choose from. Literally at present moment, 24 styles, 63 colors each, from 1 inch to 2 inch for the old cropsters. If you're interested in picking up one of those kits, I'll put the link down in the description. We just dropped them on the website. They're ready to ship. Awesome kit. If you want to check out any of our other products, the link will be down there as well, castcray.com. Once you get a kit like this, if you want to follow along, you can click this video over here, and that'll teach you how to find underwater structure when you don't have a boat. And over here, you can try this video as well on how to rig a soft plastic bait on a jig head. You can click right here on this circle to subscribe. Be sure to hit that thumbs up and ring that notification bell so you're getting all those juicy notifications. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next one. Woo!